Kathy Wade with Weight Endurance. This is a helpful hints video for week 4, session 1 of our 4-week strength maintenance program for race season. This may or may not be a race week for you, but this session is designed to be during a race week. If you're not racing this weekend and you'd like to make it a little bit more challenging, you can do a couple different things. You can either go back and do a previous week session, or you can do this session but add more sets or more reps or more weight. The way I've reduced the workout preparing for a race this weekend is taken 4 core movements down to 3 for the core set, and then instead of 6 movements for the superset, there are only 3. Let's go over each of the movements so you know how to do them properly and how you could make them more difficult or less difficult. Let's start with the core set. The first movement is called the dead bug. Particularly, it's a dead bug with weights, but you don't have to add the weights. Let's first go over the dead bug movement. It looks really simple, and it is, but it wakes up those deep ab muscles, the transversus abdominis muscles, if you do it properly. Keep the movement slow. Keep your low back pressed to the ground. If your low back arches off the ground, readjust and get that low back down. So here's how it looks. Get into like a tabletop position. My low back is pressed down, my legs are at 90 degrees, and then my arms are straight up in the air. I will rest my head on the ground. I'm moving my arms and legs out to full extension, but alternating like right arm with left leg, left arm with right leg. Okay. If you need to reduce the difficulty, you don't have to have full extension of the legs. You don't have to have straight legs. Keep your knees bent. If you want to make it more challenging, add some weights. I wouldn't go crazy. If you don't have small weights like 1 to 5 pounds, you can just fill up water bottles and use those, or soup cans work well too. It's the same idea. Slow, controlled, breathe, keep your low back pressed to the ground. Okay, that's dead bug. Number 2, a side plank to a side plank. So you're going to rotate 180 degrees from one side to the next. Let me show you what it looks like. All right, go up on a side plank. Keep those hips up on your forearm. Arm can be here, and then you would swoop that arm under, swoop it under, go from side to side. I try to keep my hips up the whole time. If that is too difficult for you, just hold a side plank for as long as you can, and then switch sides. Okay, so one more time, swoop, swoop. It's controlled and somewhat slow. I find it easier when my feet are stacked on top of each other. And last but not least is the bird dog. And you can add a foam roller for an additional degree of difficulty. I find it pretty tricky myself. So the bird dog is almost the exact opposite of the weighted dead bug at the beginning. So now I'm going to be in a tabletop position or a quadruped position with my palms on the floor, my knees on the floor. And I'll show you first without the foam roller. I'm going to go alternate. Let's go this way. So right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg. Trying not to arch your back. I also find it helpful if I fully extend my leg. That uses your glutes more. So kick back, fully extend that leg. Kick back, fully extend that leg. It's not kicking up. You're not doing a donkey kick to the ceiling. You're kicking your feet directly back behind you, trying to achieve full knee extension so that you really recruit those glute muscles. If you have a foam roller, you can attempt to do it on a foam roller. You place the foam roller right below your knees, on your shins. I'll probably mess this up a little bit. It's so tricky. That's the instability. And then go for it. Sometimes I find it easier than other days. That's okay to sort of mess it up once in a while, but do your best, and that will force you to recruit more of those midline muscles, those abdominal muscles, your low back, your obliques, for more of a challenge. That's the core set. If you have time, do 3 sets through of each. Okay, then moving on to the superset. We always try to hit a few key things in this strength superset. A pushing motion, a pulling motion, sometimes an agility and plyometric, but not during race week. And then focusing on the muscles of your posterior chain, your backside. Low back, glutes, hamstrings, calves. So I picked 3 movements that you can cycle through that just hit almost everything. What you're not going to get this week is a jumping motion. If that doesn't make you sore and you want to add some sort of jump, go for it. Okay, number 1, you have a pistol squat. That's a one-legged squat, a single-legged squat. I have a bench in the garage, I can use that. If you don't have a bench, you can find a chair, make sure it's stable, or couch, an ottoman, or something like that. I love this movement because it forces all those hip stabilizers to activate. Tap back, come up. Keep that foot on the ground, fully connected to the ground. You're going to try to tap lightly and come back up. If you find yourself plopping down, that's still okay, and then push strongly to come back up. But as you get stronger, you'll be able to tap lightly and come back up. You can add weight to this movement. It makes it much more difficult. I wouldn't do that during race week, but on other weeks when you see this movement, feel free to give that a go. Push-ups, a basic push-up on the ground, either in a plank position or your knees is great. If you aren't ready quite to do those full plank push-ups, one variation that I like is just to use an elevated surface, keep your glutes squeezed, and try to get your chest to that helpful apparatus like a chair or a bench. If you're really good at push-ups and you may want to make them more difficult, just do more reps. Or you can do like a deficit push-up where you have your hands up on a little bit of an elevated surface and then you're getting your chest lower. If you're not ready for doing sets of 10, reduce it to a set that makes it work for you. You don't want to get too discouraged, and you definitely don't want to be too sore. The last movement of our strength set during this session is a kettlebell or a dumbbell deadlift high pull. If you don't have a free weight at all, fill up a backpack with a bunch of books or heavy cans or something. A backpack can certainly suffice as a creative substitute for a free weight. I do have a kettlebell, so I'll show you what it looks like from a couple different angles. It's like this, high butt, so I'm gonna feel it in my hamstrings a lot. Activated back, so I'm not rounded, I don't wanna be hunched over. And then squeeze your glutes and snap and pull. Squeeze your glutes, snap and pull. We have already done this movement in a previous session, so it should look familiar. It is a full body, complex movement where you're having to kind of coordinate your lower body with your upper body. Keep it safe, keep it controlled. You can work up to weight as you get stronger, but during race week, you might want to just keep it lighter and just reap the benefits of moving your body in more of an activation way. The session ends with some more mobility. It's really important during race week to keep everything open and moving, so take some time to foam roll and stretch, either by following our video or one of your own. Have fun, let me know if you have questions.